Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, a call for a united effort to defend the region's sovereignty from the actions of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD). Police Chief Daniel Carbon appeals to drivers to adhere to traffic rules to reduce the number of accidents. And the Public Service Union supports a recent appeal by Bishop Mauser for electoral reform. The details coming up.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001-275-5003 today.
Minister for Education Peter Saint-Jean has reaffirmed his ministry's commitment to building a secure future for Dominica despite coming under attack from the public. Andrea Louis reports.
The minister made the remarks at the handing over of the refurbished Mont Prosper preschool and primary school on Thursday. Saint-Jean says teachers and those within his ministry have come under attack by the public, but their efforts and actions show the education personnel are committed to developing the youth of the country.
The staff within the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development, the teachers of Dominica, are on the front lines ensuring that we build a secure future for our country. Because many times the staff at our schools, our teachers, come under severe attack from the public. The staff of the Ministry of Education come under severe attack. But I think that you have proved and demonstrated that we have the interest of this nation at heart. It has not been an easy task, but we rallied to make it happen, because at the very core of our function as a ministry is the welfare and the safety and security of our children.
The minister says results of recent exams and assessments show that children are doing well in school and teachers are dedicated to the task at hand.
Just for you, the community of Mont Prosper, recently we conducted the Grade 2 National Assessment. And I've been reliably informed, while the results have not been officially announced, but I've been reliably informed that all the students in Grade 2 are reading at or above the Grade 2 level. And that speaks volumes of what is happening here at Mont Prosper.
Saint-Jean revealed the ministry is working closely with an international partner to assess the curriculum and identify areas which can be improved for school children.
The Ministry of Education is currently undergoing an informal review of the curriculum with assistance from Israel to identify ways to incorporate disaster preparedness themes into everyday classroom instruction. This, we hope, will further empower our children, and indeed we look forward to the support of our teachers in this regard.
Dominica's Prime Minister says he would like to see the region stand united in defense of its sovereignty. The Prime Minister made the statement against the background of the likely negative impact of the actions of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD) on the country's Citizenship by Investment program. In 2018, the OECD placed Dominica along with other regional countries on a potential blacklist, while at the same time reports from other recognized institutions indicated the country's due diligence was exemplary.
What the OECD and such international organizations do to Dominica and the Caribbean is unfair. The Caribbean, I therefore will speak for the Caribbean, Dominica included, we've always cooperated with the international community on all matters. When we advised a study done by the World Bank to diversify our economy in the 90s and introduce the offshore financial services, we went ahead of this. And all of the recommendations and impositions which were placed on the Caribbean, where money laundering is concerned, financial anti-terrorism, our Caribbean region have gone beyond what was demanded of us. And I'm saying to our Caribbean citizens and Dominican citizens that it is important for us as Caribbean countries and institutions to stand in defense of our sovereignty and our right to self-determination. We will go ahead before the OECD because they run the world. They will tell us what to do, and we'll have no choice to do it because we need the financial systems to operate, etc. But what they're doing is unfair because a lot of the things that they're asking us to do, they're not doing themselves. And I am not quite pleased with the fact that in the Caribbean, we have not had a united voice and a united defense on this. And I'm saddened by this.
Mr. Skerritt says this is not a partisan political issue and it should not be viewed as such.
This has to do about our countries and the right for our country to determine what kind of economic position we take, what kind of policies we implement to generate income for our countries, to create jobs. And if every opportunity we create for ourselves, to create jobs for our young people who are coming back from university, to get them to get better paid jobs, somebody outside of our countries, our region, you know, they're not even showing up in the region. They send you emails and tell you, you must do this. Like it is back in the days when Queen Victoria and Napoleon Bonaparte and all these people would issue edicts to us, and we would follow because we were colonies. And so that we are now reliving the 17th century in the Caribbean. And we have now to call emergency sittings of parliament in every country in the Caribbean because there is a meeting of the OECD in the last week of December, and we're all trying to get off on this so-called blacklist. And I'm saying to us in the region that we have to unite. And this is not about partisan politics. Whoever is in government in these regions, you will have the same challenges. And I've said to the OECD in a letter to them, we have no difficulty in cooperating. But a lot of the things that they write are factually erroneous. You know, I mean, and we draw it to attention, and they still will not correct it in their dossiers.
Government is making a significant investment in what the Prime Minister says is a new thrust in agriculture. Here is the Prime Minister speaking on the subject during what's becoming his annual year-in-review interview this week.
As you know, we have a $67 million project with the World Bank. We have the unit ready to implement this. $67 million that will go to various components of what we consider to be the new thrust in agriculture. And that will take into consideration infrastructure like the agricultural stations, propagation, management, and a number of interventions in agriculture. So that's $67 million that we have from the loan from the World Bank that will be invested in agriculture. And part of the component will also look at the issue of women in agriculture and youth in agriculture.
The Prime Minister says he's encouraged by the level of youth participation in agriculture.
And what is happening too is that we are seeing now young professionals, university graduates who are investing in agriculture. And I think what we need to do in Ministry of Agriculture, and the Minister and I have had this discussion and he has agreed with me and he's pursuing this, is for us to reach out to these people to help them in terms of the investment capital on the farm and to build them up. I met a youngster in Calypso, and he's a young guy who we're going to invest in, and I'm hoping we can meet him soon in the government system. So he does the cassava bread and so forth. He has his bakery, he does the cassava bread. He plants the cassava. And he also has contracts with a number of farmers to supply with the cassava. And I think we need to take this product beyond the shores of Calypso. And what does this young fellow need to get to the next level? You understand? We have invested with Big G's in dailies. After the hurricane, I met with him, and he says, look, I have a proposal. I said, what proposal do you have? Give it to me. $40,000 required. and we invested that $40,000 in Big Cheese. So he was able to resuscitate his farm, because he also plants peppers. He buys from farmers, but he also plants. Get him to buy equipment for his processing. And Big Cheese is back to the primary level, even bigger. And we're looking for other such entrepreneurs. There's a young gentleman, Karim Geese, who's a young professional who works at Digicel. He's a major poultry farmer. You know, maybe one of the largest in the country.
Mr. Skerritt says government needs to reach out to these young people and engage them to determine the level of support they need to increase their capacity. Meantime, the Prime Minister says involvement in agriculture is helping to ensure food security in the country.
I am promoting what I call integrated agriculture. You know, so I have a couple hives on my farm, mainly for pollination purposes. And I have a wide range of mix-up crops on small acreage and different varieties of stuff. You know, my storm drains and so forth. And what I have done, I'm moving away from pesticides and weedicides completely, you know, because I have to protect the bees. And I'm going to do a small chicken coop with 30 layers to get for the pen manual to use for the vegetables and so forth. And what I'm hoping to do is to turn this into an opportunity where school children can come and learn some things. But interestingly, I'm just doing this thing for pollination, but my friend went there and harvested the honey and came up with 12 huge bottles of honey.
Nice.
You see what I'm saying? And I understand this thing fetched for over 150 euros.
Wow.
So if I had to send this to Guadeloupe to sell, I'll be a big money.
Police Commissioner Daniel Carbon is gravely concerned over the number of road traffic accidents in the country. The police chief was addressing the press recently and said the number of traffic accidents in 2018 had been a major worry for him. Carbon is urging road users to follow the rules in order to cut back on the alarming number of vehicular accidents.
And as police chief, I must say I have serious concerns as to the way our drivers or motorists use the road. And I will say this: follow the basic road rules. I've seen a lot of accidents. Most of those accidents could have been avoided. These accidents happen because we do not follow the road rules. Before you get a driver's license, you go through a process. You learn to drive. You get an examination. And if you're fit to drive, they pass you in the examination. Never depart from the basics that you've been taught when you go through your learning process. And that's the difficulty. Before you have 2 days, 3 days, you speed in. Just follow the rules. And we'll minimize the number of accidents that we're having.
As regards the recently developed bike unit, Carbon says this unit is working efficiently to help manage the traffic situation in Roseau and environs.
There is a bike unit, and we have 14 riders in that bike unit. I must say that they're trying and they're working to the best of their ability. Riding a motorcycle for a whole day is not an easy task. And we use them to be very effective. The volume of tickets that the bikers file at the court. And so they can do as much as they can do. But we're asking them, and I've always been asking upon them, just try to be very effective. Because I believe the bike unit is a very essential unit, and it can achieve a lot to manage the traffic situation in the city.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after the break.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fenced pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
The Public Service Union has welcomed a call by Bishop Gabriel Malzer for those in authority to pave the way for electoral reform ahead of the next general election. The DPSU says in a statement that it has not hesitated in joining the campaign for electoral reform. In July of 2018, the General Secretary of the DPSU, who is also General Secretary of the Caribbean Public Services Association, wrote an article entitled "A Cry for Electoral Reform," in which he called for consensus by both government and opposition to arrive at a resolution to this matter in Dominica. The DPSU statement goes on to say the continuing delay in adhering to the request for electoral reform does not reflect responsible governance or an effective electoral commission. Prime Minister Skerrit made a statement on the issue again this week.
In difficult times, the Cabinet made monies available to the Electoral Commission to effect the process of electoral reform in Dominica. And in the first request of the Cabinet, the Commission ask of the government, the Minister of Finance, it's written bigger here, so let me get it. $3,942,803.80. We made that first amount available to the Commission. And that amount was to purchase of the system to issue the national ID cards and to input the biodata of each elector in Dominica, and to purchase 330 mobile checkpoint units. That is a unit that will take your photograph and take all your biodata and input it in the system. So $3,942,803.80 which the Cabinet approved. So as we speak, for over a year now, the Commission has had the equipment, the hardware and the software required to issue the national ID cards and to go around the country in the various villages to get the information of voters and get the photographs and so forth. A second request was made of the Cabinet to provide for additional sums for training and travel, and also employment of additional staff, purchase of a passenger bus, cost associated with implementation exercise including public relations, $1,959,647.43. Dr. Darrow, you're here, you go to the maths, you Google it out, $3,942,803.80 plus $1,959,647.43. So $5.8 million, close to $6 million in difficult times. The Minister of Finance advised the Cabinet to make available to the Electoral Commission to effect the process of electoral reform. The other thing we did as a Cabinet, as the executive, was to prepare amendments to the legislation, because the Parliament needs to give to the Electoral Commission the legal authority to issue the national ID cards and to go through the process that it has to engage with electoral reform. As you all know in the country, we went to the Parliament. There was a riotous situation. And in the judgment and the wisdom of the government in the Parliament, we decided to withdraw the bill and to go through a process of consultation. We had a consultation, we wrote to various stakeholders, asking them to submit certain recommendations. There was nothing substantive coming from them. That notwithstanding, in listening to radio programs and listening to comments about the draft bills, we removed certain sections of the amendments. And we went back to the legislature. The executive went back to the legislature, seeking the legislative change and approval to the laws. Because that's all you need now. The only thing the country needs now is the legal authority to allow the Commission to make those changes, to effect electoral reform and to start the process. The opposition, with its And if it's this movement, or what do you call it, opposition party use that entity to file an injunction in the courts, preventing the government from seeking parliamentary approval to the amendment. So that's where we are. So the only entity that has shown interest in proceeding with electoral reform is the Dominican Labour Party administration.
And event promoter Leroy Wadix Charles wants to see a $25,000 subvention to support Calypso events. Andrea Louis reports.
His call comes ahead of the first Stardom tent carted for this weekend and the kickoff to Carnival Celebrations 2019. Charles explained the Calypso art form contributes greatly to the Carnival season and the cultural product of Dominica and should receive an annual subvention to host its seasonal tents.
The contribution of Calypso to the Carnival product, which I think is underrated. We only feel Carnival from eliminations. And I think the tents, that's my personal opinion, the tents should get no less than 25 grand to assist them. It costs Stardom Tent $18,000 to produce one edition. $18,000. So when you get 200 and 300 people at $20, $6,000 at the gate, it costs Stardom Tent $18,000. So I think from the top, a subvention should be given to the tents to help them, because what we are doing is preserving the art form. It is like the battlefield towards the major competitions, the quarters, semis, and then the finals. The whole mood of Carnival automatically was injected from Saturday, mainly because of Calypso. So we feel that the discussion should surround the contribution of Calypso to the Carnival product.
This year, the Swinging Stars Band celebrates its 60th anniversary, while the Stardom Tent observes its 28th anniversary. Charles says the band management is hoping to take to the media outlets to discuss the issues affecting Calypso and further educate the public on the Calypso art form.
Calypso and sponsorship as one of the topics. The fundamentals of Calypso, where we will go back to educate the nation. How often have we done that? Calypso through the eye of a politician. And we hope that we can have a discuss between an opposition member and a government member as to how they view the art form of Calypso whilst they documented of the issues throughout the year. Are we treating the art of Calypso the way we should when it plays so much of an integral part? A question I myself will want to ask myself and my fellow workers at DFC, Calypso, and the World Creole Music Festival. I think there should be a discussion among that.
The Stardom Tent starts off this Saturday, and there is a host of activities surrounding the 60th anniversary of the Swinging Stars Band. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
When persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines, a call for a united effort to defend the region's sovereignty from the actions of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. Police Chief Daniel Carbon appeals to drivers to adhere to traffic rules to reduce the number of accidents. And the Public Service Union supports a recent appeal by Bishop Gabriel Malzer for electoral reform. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Have a good weekend.